everyone, welcome back. I think you've been expecting this for some time now. Well, it's actually 3 months and a year now since I've done the breatharian process. You have no idea what an adventure has been even to actually get to this point to make this video. I am going to tell you about that in a bit. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who, during this time has contacted me through my website or left nice messages on my YouTube channel. Also some weird things, but whatever. By the way, I forgot to say that because of the process that I made, all these 40 days, I was in a retreat mode kind of like session. So I was trying to do emails and other things at a slower pace, so I kind of like retreated in my own world. And I kind of missed, I think, a few emails from some people that wrote to me via my website. I am sorry that I haven't responded to you. If you feel like there's something urgent or important that you'd like to communicate, please send the message again, and I'll try not to delete it this time, because I'm sorry I receive also spam, so I am trying to clean my email, so I won't go crazy every day when I see the huge pile of emails to answer to. To all people that enter my third giveaway on Goodreads, the books have been shipped already for a long time now, but I'm just saying the books, if you haven't received them, you have to know that I've already sent them. So let's go back to the process. What happened in the last 3 months, right? Well, I decided that in these 3 months I'm going to do something different. So I took 40 days out of these 3 months, and I've done a 40 days solid-free type of program schedule. And it was combined with my dry mode, and aside from that, in the days that I would normally consume something else, it would be just liquids, which is as usual, water, tea, some juice, and some just liquid honey. In this 40 days, wow, I can't even begin to describe the length of transformation that happened for me. By the way, if you have noticed, the title of this video is already Ascension, breatharian, transition, because I feel that no longer the breatharian process or transition applies to me. It never actually did. It is part of my ascension process, my journey to freedom. So, but for a year I decided to actually make this as highlight the focus of my journey. But now, because it's already 1 year, I feel like it's part of the whole thing. Yes, it has a very important effects on not just my health, but the whole thing, the transformation process, but it is a part of it. And for me, I feel like it works differently than it worked for other people that I've witnessed online on YouTube or other sources. So going back to the 3 months, but no, maybe before actually to the making the video. So just so you know, just right before I was going to film this video, I was preparing, looking through my notes, because I've documented the whole thing this 40 days, and I was just looking for things to highlight, to tell you about. There's so many, I don't know if I will say enough. And also this workers started to work here down the road, the airplanes, cars, and not just that, but I feel like life is draining from me, but it's like I feel like something heavy, and I just need to leave everything and just crash for an hour. During that hour, I just had a release, an evacuation of some sort, and after that moment when I feel like that thing has been eliminated, I just could oh, I can open my eyes and see and be, how should I say, I can work again, I can work in this reality. Yeah, so, and then little by little I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm not going to postpone this anymore, I'm going to do the video. So here we are. But going back to the 40-day process. So I just felt the call. I felt like I need to do this because I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but since the moment actually we're inserted in this reality, we carry in our energetic system all sorts of things. And because of our belief systems, all sorts of programming, also because of our coding and who we are, we might end up at some point carrying in our system things, people that need help, which in this case is called rehabilitation contract. I actually wrote about, by the way, I wrote a post about this. You'll get more details there, but just an idea. I realized that I have this thing and needed to just like flush, because it was just stopping me from, because the energy was coming and wanting to just transform, and it was like this conflict, this continuous a continual conflict between the energy that was just pumping and just wanting to just expand and do its whatever upgrade, and this thing that was like resisting. So in this 40 days, I feel like the most important thing, which actually for me was the main thing why I did the process, but it was not the only thing that happened, was this elimination. I just feel like it's now, by the way, now actually I've started a second cycle of 40 days with my husband, because he was fascinated of my own journey, and now he wants to do that. So I'm doing it again with him, so this is already day 10, I guess, yeah. Anyways, going back, sorry, I'm just derailing a little bit. Going back to the journey, the first 7-8 days were just horrible because of the intention that I set, and this thing was like, oh no, I am not getting out. I'm not going to be flushed out that fast. At the same time, there were upgrades and there were attacks. They were just like, I was beyond, I have no words for it. But I think it was the portal day, yeah, it was in June 6th, I guess, yes, when this really major like release, and I felt like not just this thing, but part of my identity, more of my old identity was just flushed, and another opening happened, and another it was literal. I felt how my mind expanded once again. I started like being in this reality where it's hard to explain, but when your mind functions differently because it relates to a different type of system of how things are, and there's a different a whole new landscape there, mind landscape. It's hard to express for this type of reality. So forgive me if I'm not being so specific about this. I will try to do this in writing, and I'm going to put it further in my books, and maybe in other videos, of course. But this was one of the biggest thing that happened, was this another opening that just I knew that I hit another level, and it's like how many are they? But it's all about clearing. Actually, the main thing at this point, especially this year, because next year is going to be basically the we already enter a different harmonic universe, but some of us already have changed that, let's say, IP address. And right now we're kind of like still, we can see both realities, and we are still operating both because they are still not split, but in a very, advanced stage. So there's a lot of craziness out there, energetically, and in the world. As you can see, there's two extremes, massive good things happening, as well as massive horrible things. It's all exacerbated, and just like, yeah, everyone pulls in different directions, as I said last time. But also it's like it's speeding up, and it's like there's no more time and no more patience, and that's another feeling that I have been feeling I have moments in the day, literally every day now, where I just feel like I can't stand this anymore. I just like I want some sort of release. It's just like it's like it's not too much, but it's like it's so constricted that it's like I need to somehow decompress from this, I think, reality in the end. And the energy that it feels so constricting, because now you feel like you're so much more, and it's just like this whole thing that it's just trying to manipulate and trying to strangulate the energy. It doesn't allow you to express all your energy, and that's why you feel like very uncomfortable. So that's one of the things that happens to me daily. Another thing that I've noticed in these 40 days is that let's say I am beginning, this is not the first time, but I'm just like, the weird encounters have increased, the number of interesting things, and I know that I'm being monitored. I mean, I knew that, but now it's a little bit more extreme than that. I know there's protection, but I know that there's also, like, let's say, certain things. Pay attention to my process. Also, as I was saying last time, animals, plants have a different type of interaction with me. It's just I can't understand that either. But as I said, they are aware of what's going on beyond this biosuit, beyond this, what do you see, this interface. I told you earlier that my mind is expanding even more, and one thing that happens, I think I've said that, I'm sorry that I'm repeating the information, but this is just going to a more advanced phase. My mind right now, it's like, on one hand, I feel like I'm losing that discipline that I used to have, because I'm somebody who's disciplined and I get things done, and I like to keep my deadlines, appointments, and so on and so forth. But what happens is that you feel like you really lose focus, and it's like it's hard to actually do the things that you normally do. But what happens is, like, in this time where you're unfocused and this, like, basically your mind is dissolving, your smaller identity is dissolving. There's moments of, like, when it stops, so you can integrate that change, and then you feel, now actually I function better, and I can do more and faster, as I was saying last time. And all of a sudden I found myself, aside from coding and some other things, I started learning Swedish. Somehow it makes sense in my twisted universe. Because my journey right now is pointing me into the direction where it shows me how Source is basically creating through language, through code. Everything is basically language and code, light and sound. And I see connections that I can't really explain in everything as language, and how I can work with that, and how I can communicate, express, do things with that. To the extent that, as I said, I'm being shown some things that are so abstract that it's so hard for me to actually put at the moment into words. But in my mind makes sense, and when I do the things that I do, it makes even more sense, and it helps me to finish that, or to do those things even better. Another thing that I've noticed is that another thing that I've noticed is, for instance, like in the days when I didn't actually aside from the days where was this like 40 days solid free, in between, by the way, in between the first 40 days and this 40 days, I had basically, I think, 8 to 10 days, something like that, when I ate, solid stuff. And I've noticed that the body right now has gone to such extremes, and like to eliminate and to just process this and just get rid of the whole thing, that it's so intense that basically it sends you to sleep. Not like before, it's like when I was eating something a little heavy or whatever, but it sends you right to sleep. It's not like just go lie down for an hour, half an hour, until I just clean the house. And sometimes it's so intense. For instance, if it has something that, like some substances that are not okay, the removal is so violent and it's so fast that if you might feel like you have fever or you come down with a cold or something like that, which you don't. But actually, most of colds and stuff like that are basically body cleaning itself. So the wrong thing that people do is to stop them instead of actually run its course and actually aid that to just make the cleansing faster and more efficient. Another thing what I want to say is that so this process, this cleansing process, is that after you're done with this, like heating up the body, processing the poison and flushing it out of your system, the body cools down, the heart rate just really slows down a lot, and then you find yourself that you feel kind of cold. Also, you release all the water that the body needed to actually cleanse the waste, because that's what it does. And in these 40 days, yes, I trimmed down again. I lost again a few pounds, but I think the biggest loss was during the first week and a half, and then it stabilized. And then in the last week, when I consumed, aside from the dry mode, I had only water, so it was basically a period of dry mode with some water, 5 days. So that was when I shrunk again a lot. But after that it came back. But still, you see that our bodies are actually much thinner than we actually think they are, because when you don't eat, when you don't consume things that the body needs to release, the body really has a different structure, a different frame. But what I've noticed after that is, because during this time, by the way, I managed actually to have walked in the park and even run a few times, and you can still develop muscle if you want. But yes, you're thinner, but it's all about, it's a mind thing. It's like you have to talk with your mind, and first of all, you have to release those old programs. That means, oh, I have to eat, or I have to at least drink something to feel like I'm getting something that I can work with. So that's another thing that is being released. I feel like also during this 40 days, the thing that has been released was the program, the actual habit, the eating habit has been dissolved, because we all have this connection with food. That we use it to either to cover our emotions or boredom, or, as I said, good times with family, with friends, because this is part of our culture and human culture. Also for me, as being someone creative, for me food meant something. I can create something nice for family, friends, and it was it brought pleasure. It still brings pleasure when I manage to create something tasty and beautiful to see. And as in this sense, it was something that, by the way, in this time I didn't stop cooking or preparing stuff. I did this for my husband and friends and family, whatever. But I saw how it was not affecting me like it used to before, as in like I became sort of like immune to it. Even the smell, the whole thing, I became like numb. It's just like we were on two parallel realities. And I feel like even some of the smells kind of like, I don't know, just like disappeared or something like that. It was kind of weird, because normally usually when you cleaner, you smell, yes, I can smell the odor of other people and things stronger. But for some reason with the food it went in the opposite direction, which was strange. So I think that was one of another thing that happened in this 3 months, and mainly because of this 40 days, so this program has been erased. And what else do I want to tell you? I realized that maybe it's important to actually at least share this one thing with you. I don't talk about what body of knowledge I have or follow, or what are my sources, or how advanced, but if I'm doing this process, you can imagine that I have a huge path behind me. And if you don't know that, well, I wrote a book, and if you're interested in that, you're going to find a lot of clues in there. Links below. One thing that I'm aware is that there's a lot of distorted teachings out there, and I don't want to go to have this back and forth discussion with people about certain things, at least not now, because I would feel it would be counterproductive for my time and for my energy to do or to focus on things. But I'll give you one example. You have to understand there's a lot of distortion out there. And some of this may be malintent, some of it is purely because there wasn't enough energy in this time-space matrix to actually insert the information correctly. So it didn't come accurate, or some of it did, but some of it semi is like, and you have to learn to have that discernment. I know maybe 2 or 3 people that share the same knowledge as I do, and only one that actually has direct access as I do and had the same image, for instance, of the tree of life. Most people have the image of the one in Kabbalah with the 10 Sephirot. That's not a fake one. That's just the tree of life of a finite system, a system that has been here or in other places that have lost the connection with Source. And the connection with Source was done at between the 10 and 11 or 11 and 12? Yes. And the connection was, I think, 11.5, something like that, yeah. The tree of life that Kabbalah has is the one that we have, let's say, lived on, and a lot of people talk about when they talk about sacred geometry and like Fibonacci spiral. This is basically the template which the Fibonacci spiral is based on, and but the Fibonacci spiral is actually the distorted spiral, because it consumes, it doesn't multiply its energy. The eternal tree of life looks a little bit different. Actually, if you're curious to have an idea, you can look at on my cover of my book, and actually it has 13 of these Sephiros, these points or whatever. Maybe I'm gonna make a video about this to show you the difference between this one and that one to understand a little bit better. But the idea is that the moment you clean yourself, and also it is about your codes, and you unlock this knowledge, this sacred knowledge, sooner or later, and things start to be revealed. And one of the things that I was shown, that was more than a year and a half ago, was the tree of life and how this looks like. It's amazing, and it just has this like spiral. It's just beautiful. I'm going to try to make maybe some drawings to show a little bit better, but I tried to put some of the sketches on my cover if you're curious, just to have an idea. Yeah, another thing that people think that, it's still part of the distortion, is that people think that there's only 7 chakras, and it's not just that. Yes, there are 7 embodied, but actually there's 8 and 9 that it's dormant, and there are 15, and the rest it's beyond, under our feet and above our heads, because the matrix in itself had 15 layers. Another thing that is happening right now is that the first, second, and the third, basically, frequency bands are being dissolved because we don't need that, or some of us because we're moving into the next harmonic universe. We don't need these 3 anymore, and this is the place where a lot of distortion has happened actually on the second frequency band, which is the emotional body, which is this. What we see is we see the frequency, the band lower where our consciousness is. And our consciousness right now is on the third, moving on fourth or whatever, fifth, and sees the second. So what you see, it's basically you see your emotional body. That's what you see. And this is where the whole distortion, the mess, the nasty stuff have been implanted, and all this craziness that happened so far. Anyways, this is just a few ideas to, it's like a little food for thought, a little things to ponder or to reflect upon. What else? Many other things that I could tell you, but I'm trying to make this video less longer than usual, and maybe I will be able to focus on smaller parts and like make videos for specific subjects in the near future. I am really sorry that I haven't really found a way to make this a regular thing as I would have done in the past. Is because of this transformation, the writing, the other things, all sorts of activities that I need to do, and that, as I said, this transformation process is basically the thing that kind of like derailed my entire existence. But I have to have patience, and I hope you do too. And in the meantime, actually, I posted a few things on my website, a few more blogs, a little insight on the 40-day process, and yeah, I just have to find a way to share all this information also, because there's so many insights. I mean, I could show you this. It's huge. I can't even actually begin to explain the magnitude of the whole thing. From now on, I'm not going to call it anymore. I mean, if I'm actually going to talk about in general my upgrades, it's not going to be called the breatharian process or the breatharian transition. It's going to be Ascension updates or something like that. Yes, I will talk about things related to the breatharian transition, also maybe in a separate video, but this already is included in this bigger, larger process. Okay, I hope this helps. I hope it will give you a little bit of insight in what has happened so far in my life, and see you next time. Ciao.